right, Miss Martin. So when we took a break, we were kind of talking a little bit about your concerns that you feel like a lot of this CPS case and issues are focused on you, and you seem to think that maybe it's more of a family dynamic than solely you. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
I think I do feel that way. As we talked about before, there are times where I feel like it's like, oh, they're going to look at my parenting, the way I've, been a mother. And I get that, but there's more dynamics than that. And with her being my husband's stepchild, with that kind of thing, I think there's just things that maybe, just thinking it's like her and me and my husband, maybe it's not. Maybe there's something that we're just not even aware of that would help if, I guess we get a mindset when we're going through things, and I know that her attitude is bad. I know that what she does is disrespectful and kind of sets me off, and I tend to go back to the same way of trying to make her understand how she's feeling and what she's doing. So yeah, I guess it's probably a good way to look at it would be family.
So could you tell me, when Christy is maybe acting out or having a behavioral issue, what are some of the ways that you handle that? What kind of discipline techniques do you have in place right now?
Okay, when she's acting out, it tends to be when she feels like entitled to be talking to her friends or out and doing things. And, I know that friends are an important part, but I think, like doing her homework first, or maybe helping with her younger, brother and sister, her younger brother, just things like that she just either doesn't want to make time for, or she's been told that she needs to do something and she's forgotten, and then when she's reminded, then she blows off the handle. And I think, it seems like it's, how dare we remind her? We don't have any right to do that. She knows she'll get to it when she gets to it. Don't we trust her? So it seems like rebellion, and then, it's okay to remind her once, but then the second time with that kind of response after only reminding her once, it just kind of blows all out of proportion. So I guess my way of dealing with her is probably to threaten her or yell at her, or kind of storm in the room, and there's a lot of conflict, and it's pretty evident. And it tends to be, I think sometimes it's like I push her buttons and she pushes my buttons, and there you have it. It just kind of happens that way.
So maybe some things that you feel like are typical for a parent to ask of their child, do your
Right.
homework, maintain your chores, respect us, those kinds of things. You feel she kind of rebels against that, or puts up some, defiance maybe.
I think so. And like I said with, Johnny, he's only 3, so he acts like a normal boy. I guess, sometimes I kind of just say, oh, it's because she's a normal teenage girl, but I don't know. It just, is she getting this from at school? Is it just her? Is it me? Is it, I don't know.
Okay. So just some concerns about conflict as a whole, and you said that when she does start to get that type of attitude, that would, how did you say, you will storm into her room, threaten her, yell at her. Could you tell me maybe about one of those, maybe the last time that happened? What did it look like?
I just know it escalates so quick because it just seems to be the way it always, there's always a response. Okay, when was it last time? She had eaten supper with us, went to her room, closed her door. Johnny was there knocking on the door, and she didn't want him in there. Okay, fine. So I'd go and asked her, if she'd done her homework, and asked her to prove it to me. And I think it was just her response in being upset that I would dare to look at her homework when she's sitting there with her computer open and doing, I don't know, Facebook or whatever, because the computer got shut real quick. So You know, it could even be, I mean, who knows what's really happening or who she's really talking to, but that was one of those situations. So it kind of felt like she was being defensive about something, and to me it just made sense that if you've already done it, then just show me and this is done, and we don't have any issue to even be, you know, reacting to, you know. But it just escalated into the whole thing again, and she was really defensive and ugly, and which makes me just go all the harder to make sure that I prove that what I've asked her to do, she's going to do, and she's going to do it my way. And, you know, she's a child, I'm the parent, and I think that would be, and that's pretty common, you know, that kind of thing is pretty common for how it happens, whether it's relationships or homework or, you know.
Do you have some concerns about people she may be talking to?
I do. You know, today, I mean, you know, when I was a teenager, you know, who would have thought that, you know, that was when things were, you know, our parents didn't know everything was happening, but, you know, I had Christy when I was real young, and I'm sure my parents had some things that maybe looked like red flags, or, you know, but, and I don't know if it's because I'm afraid that kind of thing's going to happen to her, or if I just don't like her attitude, you know. But yeah, I will admit, as a parent today, it's kind of scary knowing that our kids have so many opportunities to be in places, you know, on technology that we may not know, or they may not understand who's on the other side of it. It may not be who they think it is, you know, and so that is a little bit frightening.
That can be a scary experience as a parent.
And not for her. She's going to be defensive, like, I'm not dumb, I know, you know.
Right.
And I mean, we've never really talked about it. It's just, for me at that point, it was mainly homework. It was, you know, you need to do this so that you can, you know, have your weekend with your friends, or make sure your grades stay up, that kind of thing. So.
Okay. What about, how have things been since Christy has been in foster care and not in the home?
You mean at home, or you mean for her in foster care?
Either one.
Her teachers say she's, you know, still doing okay in school. I mean, she, you know, she wasn't like straight A, you know, really gung-ho on homework and stuff, but at the same time, she, you know, I'd say she's a strong B student, and, you know, has things that she likes more than others, and I guess I feel a little bit nervous not knowing, like, what she's saying about us, what she's thinking, what she's doing. Obviously, Johnny kind of notices that she's not around, and, you know, everything's in her room still and everything. But, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. I guess I would say it's probably a little bit more peaceful on the fact that I'm not rising to, you know, have my buttons pushed. But at the same time, I guess some of the concerns are still there. You know, you don't quit being a parent just because your kid's not in the house. But
and what kind of contact are you having with her right now? Do y'all have visits once a week?
Yeah, we do. She's been kind of just very superficial on most of those visits. The foster parents kind of tell her she just needs to have her, you know, phone down or in her pocket and not be using it, and she kind of scowls at them. But I don't see the same open, you know, there's facial and body language that tells me she's upset with them for doing that, but for some reason, either she, I don't know, but she's not really telling me a lot. So I think really, actually, I probably have gotten more like from the teacher and that kind of thing than I have from actually her. So maybe it's because it hasn't been long enough. Maybe it's because she's still trying to figure things out. I don't know.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you hope to see improve in your relationship with Christy? If it was, you know, let's say in a perfect world, you go to sleep tonight, you wake up in the morning, Christy's home, and everything is perfect, you know, the problem is solved. What does that look like for your family?
I mean, I would love to say that there wouldn't be that conflict, but I was a teenager once, and I know that's probably pretty unrealistic.
This is a perfect world.
Perfect
Remember,
world.
If we had a perfect world scenario that was available to us, what would what would that day look like?
I think it would look like her, having her own space and having her independence, but also being aware of the needs of the people around her and her family, maybe even in the community, of her thinking about maybe her future and what the decisions she does now, how that might affect later on, speaking from experience, of having fun but not doing it at the expense of disrupting someone else's schedule or attitudes, or and that's really idealistic, none of it, even if wishing that for myself might be kind of whatever, but being able to sit and talk and have discussions as a family, or her to be able to discuss things with my husband, or her to sit and read Johnny a book or play a game with him, even if it's below her teenage, likes and dislikes. Doing meals together, or, jumping in and saying, hey, Dad, Mom, you've had a, bad day. Let me fold the laundry, or let me go, whatever. I guess that kind of is.
So more time as a family.
Probably, yeah.
More helpful of an attitude. But you also mentioned you want her to have that balance of having a teenage experience,
right.
And having fun and having that time, but
be involved in school things that matter, whether it's sports or music, or and she's kind of artistic, so being able to do some of that stuff, and if it means instead of being on technology, sitting doodling or drawing or creating, or something like that would seem like a better use of her attitude and her.
Have you ever found a way of talking with her or disciplining her that you feel works better or differently than when you have maybe that more conflictual type of relationship?
When we take the technology away, and I'm thinking mainly like of her computer, or whatever, and that was really huge blow up. She was very begrudgingly kind of, I want to call it kind of snarky on, well, I will this and I will that, and and then it kind of settled down, and then after a day or so she was kind of calm, and so we had kind of decided 3 or 4 days without that would be enough to show her that she could get back into being a little bit better at her communication and her attitude, a little bit more self-controlled and not driven by her spare time.
Okay. So do you think that was helpful, or that was her pushback was?
Her pushback was probably, to be good for a day just so she could get it back, but you could tell it was like behind clenched teeth and behind a mask of, I need it back, so whatever you ask me, I'll do it, But I don't know that it was a real change of anything. And then again, like I said, everything flares up again because we know how to push each other's buttons on that. So, I don't know how long it takes for habits to change, hers and or mine, or neither.
So what are some ways you can think of that you and Christy together could work on maybe not pushing each other's buttons, or building your relationship?
It would be nice if there's something that she liked to do that I like to do, but it's not cool to do things with your mom.
Well, you mentioned she likes art. Is that right?
She does. She just likes to kind of doodle, and I don't know what, but it seems like, ever since she was little, that was something that she...
Is that something that you have any interest in?
A little bit. Guess I just don't take much time for it. But, and I don't know, money could be an issue too. But for her it's easy at school because everything's provided, and if she takes art classes then she likes them. But other than that, it's just kind of doodling on whatever she has handy at the house. So
that's something that she's good at.
Well, I don't know. She seems to enjoy it, and it's she's got I mean, I don't know. I'm not an artist, so I don't know if there's talent there. But, again, like I said, she's even in art, she gets, B's and A's and, something that she seems to enjoy. Maybe it's just the way the class is set up. I don't know.
Okay. Well, it seems like you have that desire, though, to spend time together as a family. Is that's something that's important to you?
And maybe being able to do stuff that's, we talked about that. We tend to kind of be an inside family, so maybe that's where she's, I don't know that she really likes to be outside much. And I know some families like to go out and do sports stuff and, But I mean, on good days, we do have some, it might be like a Saturday night or a Sunday night, just make some popcorn and sit and kind of find a stupid movie that we all can watch, or wait to watch one that maybe Johnny can't watch, after he's gone to bed. But, and that happens, but I guess there's just not much discussion going on, and it's kind of interesting because sometimes, we'll look over and she's fast asleep, 20 minutes after the movie starts. So that's not really, solving anything necessarily, but,
Well, I'd like to see if we could maybe talk about setting up some goals and some things that maybe you could work toward, and things that not only you can work on, but things that you can work on with Christy to, like I said, help improve that relationship and help work toward a place where everybody feels good about how things are running in the house.
So when she's at the foster parents, are they doing stuff like this, or are they just a holding tank? To me it's like, okay, you took her out of our home situation, we need to work on it. We obviously need to work on it because we're now in different places, but what kind of reinforcement is she getting from her foster family, or is that something that they're already working on with her? Because I don't really get that. I get her kind of just acceptance, kind of a blind acceptance, deference, but not necessarily like, oh, I'm happy to be here, or whatever. So I guess my question is what's happening in the foster family situation being modeled for her so that she's already learning some of those skills, so that when we try to do it together, and obviously I'm not there, I don't see it, I don't know them, I don't, I just have to trust that the state has put her in a place that's going to be positive for her, not just a holding tank, so to speak.
And I think those are all very good questions and concerns to have. I think every family is different, and so I think it would just depend on their parenting style, what style of discipline they're using with her. And like you said, you're not there, I'm not there, and I think that those would probably be really good things to address with your CPS caseworker, and kind of express those concerns as far as wanting that consistency in parenting, and just, I think, advocating for yourself that you think it's important that there is a consistency of how what you're working on to parent Christy is being modeled already, so that it can be a smooth transition. Yeah. I think that's a very excellent point for you to pick up on and to bring out. I really do.
Because I think when I look back, and we didn't really talk about it, but it just, those times when you asked what would it be like if it was really ideal, kind of brings to mind the ways that it was opposite of ideal. The days when she's really being belligerent, and a good firm grab and just, you need to stop this kind of stuff, just gets kind of, like she pushes those buttons to frustrate past even the whatever. So I kind of look at that and go, those kind of things, I don't know. Ideally, I don't want it, but at the same time, it just, ramps up so quickly. So I don't really know.
So maybe one of the things we can work on is, how can we work on it before it escalates to that point? What are some things we could put in place to kind of temper that escalation.
I mean, I hear you kind of saying you think it probably how I respond to her, but I just keep thinking in the past when I told myself it's not going to escalate that way, she just keeps pushing the buttons like it's almost like she wants that confrontation. She wants that battle of the wills, you know, she wants that entitlement or, I don't know. And I really don't know why. It just seems more than what I would think a normal teenager would, you know, be acting like. I don't understand the defensiveness and the anger and the disrespect.
It's hard to kind of wrap your mind around.
Yeah. And and it's probably, I don't know, maybe it's one thing and we just don't know what it is, or maybe it's, I don't know. Or is there something going on that none of us know about? That, I mean, because it hasn't, I mean, it's, it's been really bad for like 6 or 7 months, but, even before that, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't want to think it's me, but evidently somebody thinks it's me, so.
It's understandable. People don't, it's hard to grasp what really is going on. But I do think that there's some ways that we can look at to maybe, let's see if, we can try some different things and see if those things don't maybe lessen some of that conflict. I think of things like maybe taking a moment, a break to really just separate yourself from that conflict for a minute. I think right now you have that separation with her being in foster care, but like you said, how is it going to be when she comes back?
Right.
What and I think that's really what we need to focus on, is what is going to be different and how is it going to be different. That to me, I think is definitely something that I would imagine CPS is going to be looking for, is how do we know that things are going to be different?
But it has to be probably everybody wanting it different.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
If she doesn't want it, what happens then? I mean, I just, how do you reestablish boundaries that someone keeps kicking down the fences or putting up new ones, or however you want to look at it?
And it's a process. It's a process. But I think every process starts somewhere.
Right.
So I think maybe if we could start with, starting with some baby steps and thinking, okay, let me at least try something new. Is that something that you'd be open to?
Yeah. I want to see results, though. I have to be honest. Otherwise, I feel like the time is just wasted investing in it if there's not going to be change.
Mm-hmm. So what is one thing you think we could work on, that you could start trying to implement even in your visits with Christy? If she does something to push her buttons.
I think just even, I don't know, having her be able to just sit and talk without not feeling like her phone has to be in her hand, or maybe sharing feelings, not like deep relationship stuff, but just, like, what's really going on? Like, what really makes you angry? And is it always me? Like, really, is it really always me that makes you angry? What things make you angry that make it okay for you to, respond this way, or to, so I guess part of it, maybe just being able to talk without her doing that thing that she does.
Okay.
maybe finding out what common things she does even like, but, I guess at this point I'm a little bit disbelieving that she would find anything that she liked that she'd want to do with her family, with her mom, because that gives her power and control to not like to do anything that we like to do or not want anybody else in her world doing what she likes to do. As weird as that sounds, that's kind of the feeling that I get quite often.
Oh, okay. So something that I'm thinking of is maybe we'll check in with your caseworker and see maybe if at your next visit you could go somewhere that would be somewhere that Christy would enjoy, and maybe you can be the one to tell her and say, Christy, I've decided we're going to go. I don't know, where do you think she would like to go to? They have those places you can paint.
Yeah, that's true.
Looking at
Like
that
and stuff, or the painting, yeah.
And seeing maybe how a visit like that goes, and does that change, the interaction at all? Doing
Right.
something light and fun, something that she enjoys. And something else I'm thinking of is maybe creating a space where you and Christy can talk about, like you said, some of those relationship things, some of those things of, you're wondering, is it something that you did to her? And maybe setting up a time either, with myself or maybe with someone else where you and Christy have that safe space to talk through
I just
some
don't,
of those
I
things.
just don't know how realistic it is to think she's going to talk to me, because if she won't do it at home, it kind of feels like that's really idealistic to want it. But I guess in the long run, that's what I do want,
Mhm.
So I
And
don't
that's
know,
something that
like,
you're
how
open
long
to
it's gonna
trying?
take. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
but who knows? I mean, I have my doubts. I just have my doubts.
Hmm.
Because I can want it all I want it, but if she doesn't want it, then it leaves the ball in my court, and it leaves it my fault because she's not responding to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I think maybe, like I said, we can start off with that, with a visit, maybe at an art studio, or I'm not sure what those places are called, but I think you knew what I was talking about. And then we'll check in, see how that was going. I think maybe if we could see about getting that visit done, maybe in the next 2 weeks. Does that sound like something we could do?
we could try it.
And then, something else I would ask is, see if you can do is really, just talk to Christy and see, would she be willing to come talk in a session like this, like I said, with me or with someone else, and talk about some of those issues, because those seem to be the things that you're worried about.
Yeah.
And so maybe if we can,
But she can be worried about what I'm worried about.
well, sure, and maybe if we can bring everybody together, it's a starting place. It's a starting
It could be.
place.
It could be.
So we'll kind of work on those things and just see where it takes us.